Good afternoon. It's great to see you again, Julie. I know we did introductions in our previous meeting, but I'm going to start bios again, and we will go around and introduce ourselves just as a refresh, and so you remember everybody's role. My name is Amy, and I'm the project manager. I'm going to hand you off to Paula so she can introduce herself next.
Hi, Julie. As you know, I'm the assistant program manager. We're missing today two of our team members, Michaela, who's our graphic designer, and Tramika, who's our time management specialist. They're both with other clients. They had previous commitments, so they couldn't be here today. Stephanie will go next.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Denny, and I am the editor.
It's great seeing you all again. Thank you so much for reminding me of everyone's role in the team.
Oh, good to see you again too. I'm so glad we have a chance to get back together so we can go over the complete proposal we've done for you. The last time we met, we presented the analysis summary, and you let us know that you wanted to go with option A, the instructor-led training. We've since prepared a design brief, development summary, implementation strategy, and evaluation plan for you.
I'm really excited to hear what you all have prepared.
We've called this meeting to go over the complete proposal with our client, Julie Wyatt, from the Undergraduate Advising Center at Kennesaw State University. We're going to start with Paula going over the design brief.
Like Amy said, I'm going to go through the design brief. We first created a goal analysis for each of our 6 instructional goals that were modeled from the Bloom's taxonomy. Our goal analysis includes the instructional goal, task, and the prerequisites knowledge, and the skills required to accomplish that goal. I'm going to go through the goal analysis. We're going to pick one of the goals. And Amy, if you can please bring up the goal analysis so I can go through one of the examples. Thank you. So for goal number 1, we have a state the graduation requirements. So the trainee would need to list the Georgia and U.S. history state legislative requirements, list the Georgia and U.S. Constitution state legislative requirements, list each class option and the credit hour requirements in area A, list each class option and the credit hour requirements in the area B, list each class option and the credit hour requirement in area C, list each class option and the credit hour requirement in area D, list each class option and the credit hour requirement in area E, list the lower division major requirements for the advisor's assigned major, and identify the major requirements for the advisor's assigned major. As prerequisites, our trainees should know how to locate the Owl Express, access the degree works, and they should have a copy of the individual's KSU login credentials. Next, we will go through the performance objectives that the instructor-led training will cover. The 6 performance objectives break each goal down to the task, condition, and the criteria needed to meet the objective. I will pick a couple of these as an example to cover with you. I know that you have already review this information, but we just want to go over some of the objectives here. So for the knowledge, they would need to list the state legislative requirements using the provided table to fill in the blanks in accordance with the listed requirements on the degree work. I will pick also the analysis, infer how many classes the student needs to take per semester in order to graduate after reviewing the provided sample in accordance with the 15 to finish policy. And lastly, if you look at the evaluation, justify the created graduation plan in a written summary in accordance with the standard note template. I will now go through the appropriate testing methods. We created these to be sure that the testing methods we plan to use accomplish all of our instructional goals. For appropriate testing methods, we have included the objective and the actual test items. So here we have the task, the objective, and the actual test. We'll cover the knowledge and the analysis and the evaluation, since you already have this information. So for the knowledge, the trainee would have to list the graduation requirements. The objective is list the graduation requirements for major, lower division, major, general education, and state legislators. In the actual test item, they would have to list the graduation requirements specific to the student that they're using as an example. For the analysis, differentiate remaining classes by semester availability. And the objective is to differentiate when classes required will be available for the student to take. And the actual test item is draft a schedule for the student based on the differentiation of class availability across remaining semesters. And lastly, for the evaluation, they have to justify the created graduation plan. And the objective is justify the graduation plan by explaining it to the student. And the actual test item is to summarize the graduation plan and explain the requirements to the student. As far as the spending plan, you know, we covered last time. We did address cost, and we wanted to bring it up again to revisit the cost, since you have already locked in option A. So for the analysis part, it was 40 hours at $50 per hour, so that cost is $2,000, which we have already received payment for that. So you would have to keep in mind that $2,000 you should subtract from the total cost. So the design part is 4 days, 32 hours, each one at $50 an hour, for a total of $1,600. The develop phase is 10 days, 80 hours at $50 an hour, for a total of $4,000. The implementation phase, the facilitator, the team lead, and the learners, and the classroom reservation, not included in work allowances, that's zero because you guys take care of those items. In the evaluate phase, we have 40 hours at $50 an hour for a total of $2,000, and the total cost comes to $9,600. Now, keep in mind, those are estimates, and we may go a little over below. So we have it as 20%. It could be decrease or increase. So the total cost that you would have is between $7,680 and $11,520. Those numbers you need to subtract, like I said before, the $2,000 that you guys have already paid for the analysis phase. Okay. Julie, do you have any questions for me on the design brief?
I do not think so, Paula. That sounds really good.
Thank you.
Great. Now that we've gone through the design brief and you seem to have no questions, Stephanie's going to go ahead and take us through the development summary.
Like Amy said, I'm Stephanie, and I'm going to walk you through the development summary we have created. In this section, you will find the instructional strategies, supporting media, information guide to the learner, and the instructor and the formative evaluation summary. All of this information was created to make sure that all of the learning resources were created and vetted to fit the training. For each learning goal, we have created a lesson plan. The lesson plans include the event, instructional strategy, and teacher or student outcome. The lesson plans also start with an intention getter and include the objective, prior knowledge, content, guided practice, independent practice, feedback, assessment, and closure. There is a lesson for each instructional goal. For example, here is a portion of one of our lesson plans. And then you can see in the table there that we have a guided practice, which includes the teacher asking for student volunteers to review 2 more example student degree works using the computer and projector, and identifying missing requirements in front of the class. some independent practice where the learners use worksheets and practice their knowledge of each of the DegreeWorks areas. And then they have the opportunity to receive feedback. So working with a partner, the students will exchange highlighted DegreeWorks plans and have the opportunity to check each other's work. Beyond the lesson plans, we have the supporting media to enhance the learning. The supporting media is used to support all kinds of learners. So it includes visual, kinesthetic, and audio components. So you also should be able to see that we have visual, audio, and kinesthetic clearly labeled in our chart there. And under visual, we included things such as Microsoft PowerPoint slides, whiteboard worksheets, videos, a Jeopardy game. And then under audio, different things like group discussion and getting teacher feedback. And then under kinesthetics, some of the things we included are different games and various lessons, whiteboard placards to use during the team quiz game, flip chart, and then a blank DegreeWorks that they have the opportunity to fill out. And then we also broke down the media that will be selected based on the type of learning, just to support the Bloom's taxonomy that we've been using. So for example, to help with knowledge, the PowerPoint slides with listing the information that are broken down into categories and sample of complete DegreeWorks. And as another example, under synthesis, a video of an advisor creating a graduation plan, and then a group discussion where everyone can talk about commonalities across all majors with regards to graduation knowledge. After the supporting media, we have provided the information guide to the learner and to the instructor. We developed these guides to show the information that we will be providing to the learner and the instructor through the instruction we are providing. After the information guides, we have provided the formative evaluation summary. We created this to figure out what revisions we needed to make before we released our final version of the instructor-led training. We created the table that you can see to summarize changes we found and made. So just to point out some of the changes that we made, we ensured that learner groups will allow for experienced advisors to work with new advisors to stress the overall goal of decreasing the performance gap because more experienced advisors might find the training unnecessary. Or because the goals could be seen as too specific based on stakeholder feedback, we broadened the scope of the goals. Because not all new advisors have access to DegreeWorks, which we found out from new hires, we made it so that the training would happen only after everyone has access to DegreeWorks. And if we look at the section on information to guide the learner, it says the information to guide the learner included learner identification information, but this information was not necessary for the learner, just the facilitators. So the learner information was removed from the learner plan. So those are just a few of the things that we did based on the feedback that we received. And I know that that was a lot of information, but Julie, do you have any questions about what I've presented?
Wow, that was so thorough. The lesson plans alone had so much information, especially when I was reviewing them earlier. Thanks for showing and demonstrating what you did to create those. Really appreciative of how detailed you were, and particularly to include strategies for the different learning styles for the visual, audio, and kinesthetics, so we can keep it interesting for the different learners that we have. And I think it's going to be a great thing. I can't wait to hear what else you all have prepared.
Great. I'm so glad that you seem to like the direction we've gone with this proposal, Julie. It's been a real pleasure working with you so far. We're next going to have Stephanie again going through the implementation strategy.
So this section includes the learner plan, instructor plan, and the train the trainer agenda. The learner plan includes activities and directions and comments for the learner identification, schedule, notification, and tracking. The learner identification summarizes the background of the learners, which are the academic advisors. The schedule and notification provide a detailed plan for the training, including how long it will take and the order of the lessons. It also lays out for you when you should plan to notify the learners about the training. So here's a portion of the learner plan. And you can see that it just kind of lays out the plan for notifying everyone about when the training will take place. So it says here in this little snippet, notification, the administrative assistant will notify the advising staff via KSU email about the workshop 3 months in advance of the established workshop date. Again, 1 month before, and then include a reminder email the week of the workshop. And then if you go down, then you'll just see more details relating to why we would do that and the learning outcomes related to that. The facilitator plan breaks down everything the trainer needs to know for this workshop. It starts with the schedule, which includes when they will receive the course material, and then gives step-by-step instructions on how the facilitator should prepare. And then we have this plan that references the train the trainer agenda, which is the last piece of the implementation strategy, and it breaks down the schedule further. It is a detailed schedule of the workshop that breaks it down by time, topic, and content, which you can see in the table there. Just the breakdown of how the train the trainer workshop would go. So beginning with just an overview of the course, and then a break, and then reviewing specific lessons from 9:30 until the rest of the morning, following the teacher guide, giving the learners the chance to ask any questions, and then a break for lunch. And then after that, lessons 4, 5, and 6 from 1 to 3:30, following the teacher guide, giving learners the opportunity to ask any questions, and then a break, and then giving them the opportunity for an individual assignment and feedback, including a discussion on how to review individual assignments and how to provide feedback to the learner. And then between 4:10 and 4:30, having closing remarks and a Q&A session. Julie, do you have any questions with the implementation strategy?
I do. I think I'm a little confused on what's the difference between an instructor plan and the training the trainer plan.
Okay, good question. So the instructor plan is a guide for the teacher to use during the lessons while actively teaching, and the trainer plan is for our team to train your instructor about how to implement the lessons before they actually take over the training.
Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Awesome. Glad we cleared that up. And we are almost done presenting all this information for you, Julie. The last thing that we still need to go over, though, is the evaluation plan. Paula's going to go ahead and take you through that now, okay?
Yes, so we finally made it to the last piece, which is our evaluation plan. This section includes the actual evaluation plan and the levels 1, 2, and 3 evaluation instruments. Like I mentioned, the evaluation plan is the first part of this section, and it summarizes how we will evaluate this training to make sure that it has accomplished all of our goals. It breaks it down into 5 different levels, which include perception, learning, performance, impact, and return on investment. For each level, we have identified the who, what, when, where, how, and why that level is going to be evaluated. For example, let's look at the chart. For level 1, the perception, the who is who's going to administer the lesson is provided by the facilitator, administered by the facilitator. It measures the learner's perception of the course as well as their satisfaction. And this is done at the conclusion of the training. And it will be on the learner's smartphones via a QR code, scanning to a Microsoft Form survey. There will be a backup computers in the learning space if needed, if they don't have access to a phone. The why is to determine how satisfied the learners are with the content that was presented, and to determine how satisfied the learners are with the facilitator. And the how, we'll do a Likert scale and open-ended questions, and responses are anonymous, just so we can get real feedback. The level 2, the learning, administered by the facilitator, it will be measured knowledge and comprehension of each lesson. And it will be done 24 hours after the training has been completed. It will be emailed to the learner. And the why is to determine the learner's potential to perform the job task. And second, to determine the comprehension of the information that was presented in the lesson. The way we're going to do this is by examination via a Microsoft form in a sample graduation plan. And for the level 3, the performance is if they're actually implementing what they learned in the training. The who is administered by the director of RCHSS advising, and the what measures whether the performance gap has been closed, and it measures also areas of improvement. We will do these on a one-on-one meeting conducted with each employee once a month to discuss results, and then 30 days following the course. It will be done in the performance space, and the reason why we'll do this is to determine whether the performance gap has been closed, determine employees' ability to retain information and apply it to the job task, and determine areas of improvement. The way we're going to do this is through face-to-face interviews, and then we'll do a spot checks. The director reviews a minimum of 2 completed graduation plans for each employee, and peer shadowing experienced peer shadowing experienced employees that will shadow the new employees and complete the feedback form. After we do the evaluation plan, we have included the evaluation instruments for levels 1 to 3. The level 1 and 2 instruments are surveys that we plan to use at different steps through the training to ensure that it is effective, meeting our goals, and make the evaluators aware of any changes that might need to be made. The level 3 evaluation instrument is an evaluation tool that the director will use when interviewing the academic advisors to ensure that they are utilizing the degree work and to see what questions they may still have. Julie, do you have any questions about the evaluation plan?
I don't. These look great. Well, actually, I do. Sorry, small question. How will I be able to see the results of these surveys that you've created?
Oh, great question. We didn't include that. We created the surveys through Microsoft Forms, and once we send everything over, we will provide a link that forces a copy so that you will be the owner of the form, and therefore you can access any and all of the results.
Oh, okay, that sounds great. So Julie, I know that was a lot of information. I'm so glad that you went through that. There was a lot of information that we went through. Do you have any questions about any of the different sections or any of the material that we prepared for you?
Well, that was a lot of information, but it was a lot of really great information. I'm so glad that you went all section by section, so I was able to focus on one part at a time and able to ask questions as we went through, as we have done throughout the project. I think it looks really good, and y'all have created a wonderful plan to implement. All the work has been done. Now we just need to give the training so we can solve the issues we've been having with our graduation plans. What do I need to do on my end so that we can proceed?
Awesome. I'm so glad that you liked what we came up with and that you're excited to implement this training with your team. Since you want to move forward with the project, I will send you an endorsement form and you will just want to proceed with the project with no changes and sign it, and we will go from there. Thank you again, Julie, for coming to this meeting. I'm so glad that we're planning to move forward.
Of course, a huge thanks to all of you. This looks really awesome, and I'm really excited to tell my team about it. I look forward for the endorsement to sign and to send over ASAP. Thanks again for everything. You all have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Julie. You too.
Thank you,
Bye.
Julie. Bye.
Bye.